On January 8, 2002, the bustling Orchard Towers in Singapore was transformed from a hub of nightlife into the chilling scene of a double homicide. The story began with a foul odor seeping from a silver Daewoo Chairman parked on the 7th floor of Orchard Towers car park. Mohammed Yaqub, a security guard, had received a report that the car had remained in the same spot for 4 days. When he approached the vehicle, he noticed the smell and immediately called the police. Responding officers forced open the car doors, making a grisly discovery. Inside the vehicle, the decomposing bodies of a man and a woman were found. The man was identified as 46-year-old Kho Nai Guan, who was found in a large wicker basket on the back seat. In the trunk lay the body of a woman, later identified as 29-year-old Lan Ya Ming. Both victims had been violently murdered, and the case would soon become one of Singapore's most infamous. Kho Nai Guan, a Singaporean father of 3, had fallen on hard times after his electronics business failed in 1989. He later found work as a driver and developed a close bond with his British employer, Michael McCrea, a successful expatriate financial advisor. McCrea, known for his generosity, gifted Kho a $146,000 car and treated him like a brother. Though Kho's marriage had faltered, he was known for his warm personality and excellent driving skills, which had impressed McCrea enough to hire him as a personal driver. The female victim, Lan Ya Ming, was a teacher from China who had arrived in Singapore in October 2001 to apply for a teaching job. She left behind her husband, Lin Ya Song, and her 8-year-old twin sons in China. Lan and Kho were dating at the time, and she had been staying at McCrea's apartment in Balmoral Park. The 2 victims were reported to have died from strangulation and suffocation, respectively. Forensic pathologist Dr. Paul Chui confirmed the causes of death. Kho died from strangulation, while Lan died from suffocation, her head covered in plastic bags tied tightly with neckties. The police investigation pointed them to McCrea's apartment at Balmoral Park, where Kho and Lan had last been seen. However, both McCrea and his 22-year-old girlfriend, Audrey Ong had left Singapore on January 5th, 3 days before the discovery of the bodies, on a flight to London. The apartment was found in disarray, as if a violent struggle had taken place. Police uncovered witness accounts that implicated McCrea and Ong in the murders. One witness, Gemma Louise Ramsbottom, a former secretary of McCrea, recounted how she had been threatened by McCrea to help dispose of Kho's body after she stumbled upon the crime scene. Another acquaintance, Augustine Justin Cheo Yi Tang, testified that McCrea had asked him to procure acid to dissolve the bodies and cleaning supplies to eliminate evidence. With strong evidence linking McCrea and Ong to the double murder, Singapore authorities issued an international fugitive notice through Interpol. After 5 months on the run, McCrea and Ong were tracked down and arrested in Melbourne, Australia, where they had been hiding at the home of McCrea's estranged wife. Singapore quickly sought their extradition, but Australia's laws against extraditing suspects who might face the death penalty presented an obstacle. Eventually, Singapore assured Australia that McCrea would not be executed if convicted, which allowed his extradition to proceed. Ong was extradited first in November 2002 and subsequently sentenced to 12 years in prison after pleading guilty to charges related to the disposal of evidence. She cooperated with authorities and testified against McCrea, though Judge Richard Magnus condemned her actions as callous, shocking, reprehensible, and grossly offensive. McCrea fought his extradition for 3 years, making multiple appeals, all of which were rejected. He was eventually extradited to Singapore in September 2005, where he faced charges of murder, later reduced to culpable homicide, not amounting to murder due to plea negotiations and lack of premeditated intent. McCrea's trial began in June 2006. The prosecution, led by Deputy Public Prosecutors Christopher Ong and Wong Kok Wong, argued that McCrea had instigated the violence over a minor dispute. During the trial, it was revealed that on January 2, 2002, McCrea, Kho, Lan, and Ong had gathered at McCrea's apartment for drinks. During the gathering, an argument erupted after Kho insulted Ong by calling her a slut. In a fit of rage, McCrea attacked Kho, eventually strangling him. The account of Lan's death was equally grim. When Lan tried to intervene, McCrea struck her unconscious and later suffocated her by tying plastic bags around her head. To cover up his crimes, McCrea then enlisted Ong's help to dispose of the bodies. Judge Chu Han Tek sentenced McCrea to 24 years in prison, 10 years for each culpable homicide charge, served consecutively, with an additional 4 years for destroying evidence. McCrea was denied leniency, as the judge found no genuine remorse in his actions, especially given his decision to flee the country rather than report the incident. Despite McCrea's appeal for a lighter sentence, the Court of Appeal upheld the punishment, with Chief Justice Yong Peng condemning McCrea's lack of humanity. The Orchard Towers double homicide case remains a landmark in Singapore's criminal history. It highlighted the challenges of international extradition and set a precedent for cooperation between countries with differing laws on capital punishment. This case, along with other infamous crimes, was later featured in True Files, a Singaporean true crime documentary series. The case was also included in Guilty as Charged, an e-book published by the Straits Times covering 25 of Singapore's most notorious crimes. In the end, Michael McCrea's brutal actions shattered the lives of 2 families, leaving an indelible mark on Singapore's collective memory and its justice system.